everybody, thank you for coming to this panel. We are here at IBC 2025 at the NDI ecosystem booth, and I have three very good friends with us, and we will talk about audio. So, can you imagine video without audio? No, eh? We can imagine audio without video, but not the reverse, right? So, right. And so, yeah, so as the production move deeper into IP and cloud, et cetera, audio is no longer just a companion of video, no? Is much more than that. Is a critical element that defines quality, accessibility, and innovation. And so we are joined by three fantastic guests and very good friends. We have Ewan Cameron, that now is Ross.
There's a story.
There's a story. Congratulations. And is one of the mind behind LAMA Mix, LAMA Connect, amazing tools that redefined how audio is mixed and managed in an IP world, let's say. We have my friend Ryan Hansberger, Director of R&D at Wizard-T.
Woo!
Yeah. Who lead the development of this Connect Audio, right? And is the very first NDI audio I/O device in the market. And then we have Judy, Vice President at KiloView. KiloView represents a company with a very, very special relationship with NDI. Is one of the early, or probably the early adopter of NDI, yes. And they still play a very important role as a partner with NDI. And so together we will explore today workflow, the workflow that are really getting the potential of audio and what still need to be improved. The first question is for Ewan. So LAMA get the attention for redefining how audio is mixed and distributed in IP environment. And so we are curious to know what problem did you set out to solve creating LAMA Mix and LAMA Connect, and how you see changing the way user and company produce audio today.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much, Roberto. Great to be here. So, LAMA was created to essentially make audio production simpler, faster, and more efficient. And we're achieving that through software. And one of the key pieces of software we developed, also with your help, I have to say as well, is the software LAMA Connect. And LAMA Connect is essentially a software patch bay and protocol converter. And the idea is that you've got anything in the audio or in the analog or in the IP audio domain, you can connect it together using LAMA Connect. Now, the special sauce, I have to say, is also the fact that we've implemented NDI audio in a very special way, which some other people are now also doing as well, which is great. But I have to tell this story, which is, I've probably told you multiple times, but when our founder, Ewan actually created the NDI node for LAMA Connect, he came to me and he said, okay, so we've created this NDI node, and it can do 256 channels of audio. And then he carried on talking about something else. And I had to say, hang on a sec, do you realize what you've just said there? 256 channels in one node. And also, he created a buffer scheme so that the timing was absolutely rock solid. And once he told me this, and I came back and explained why that was such a big thing commercially, it was amazing because it's been an absolute key part of LAMA Connect, a key part of the technology. And it's also been a very key part of our workflow for cloud-based workflows as well. So we are using NDI audio for sending audio in and out of the cloud. And also NDI data for the MIDI data as well, which we worked with you to do. But I'd like to say thanks for all your support in making this possible, because you've also been one of our best critics and one of our best testers.
So the next question is to Ryan. Of course, you lead the development of this Audio Connect, but of course, Wizard is a software company, and I'm curious to see how do you see software-defined audio tools, their role, and their, how you see the future of software-defined audio tools, focus not only in cloud-based production, but even in, mix and hybrid production. And how do you see those tools complementing existing standards like NDI audio?
Thank you, Roberto. So with Viz Connect Audio, which we're really excited about, the software-based approach allows us to rapidly evolve, right? We can very quickly shift from one thing to another. We can advance the product. We have plenty of headroom on the system. And that allows us to be very quick with both development, but also rolling out notable features. So like, for example, one of the things that we set out to really tackle was a challenge with doing on-ramp, off-ramp for cloud. That's a very challenging thing for most products out there, most tools. So with Viz Connect Audio and Bridge from NDI, we've been able to solve that on-ramp. So we can take a physical source, plug it into the audio mic or the Viz Connect Audio, convert it over to NDI, pipe it up Bridge, get it into the cloud or to a distributed workflow maybe elsewhere, and really solving workflow complications. And we can do that quickly, and then the next feature will solve another one. And that's the beauty of software. We'll be able to rapidly develop that.
Right. And then I have another question for you, Ryan. How do you see the combination between, so how do you see the advantage for a product like this, and especially combining cloud production with metadata supporting NDI?
It's huge. Sky's the limits on that. Really, metadata is going to open up a whole new area for users and workflows to be evolved and taken to the next level. The ability to have bidirectional communication, which is enabled with NDI, and then taking that metadata, push it to the cloud, have it interact with something, trigger some effects, come back down, do the same on the reverse, is huge. And I think that'll be a very large step that we're going to be taking and continue pushing forward for Viz Connect Audio as well as the rest of the product line for Viz.
Okay. So next question is for Judy. KiloView has recently integrated LAMA Mix and LAMA Connect in some product. Why was it important for you to embrace this ecosystem, and how do you see KiloView role in making, in the future, advanced audio tool more accessible to users worldwide?
Thank you, Roberto. So the partnership with LAMA actually started since last year, right? So actually the story begins from one of our products, the ARP02, which is like a media platform we announced. So everyone knows KiloView, and that's the truth. We initially are doing more NDI video rather than audio. So I mean, in the past, audio is already included, but we are not specifically thinking about the audio solutions. But the idea came because of that product. ARP02 is like a whole ecosystem. We are bringing NDI conversion and also like the media gateway that will be able to do all kinds of bridge every technologies together. And even we are bringing a kind of what we call the compute card. So just imagine you can also even put a computer inside of that device. So that means because NDI is software defined, so we will be able to easily bring NDI into that computer to run any kind of the NDI supported software, including LAMA. And for audio parts, because every time when we are showing this, everyone will think about how about audio, right? And even we already have the converters have the embedded audio, and everyone will think about analog audio, how we'll be able to convert it into IP audio, and then also everyone will think about LAMA and all those kind of software for audio, and then that's a perfect match. So getting the compute part, running all those kind of NDI software, including the audio, and of course, when Dr. NDI, you're asking about our future, it's actually for this show, we are also showcasing our prototypes about audio. We will have like a card to convert the analog audio into IP audio, cross conversion, and also we have the small boxes to do the cross conversion. The reasons also because we are now showing quite a lot of our products into the projects, especially for like the TV stations production. Those customers will all have this kind of requirements, and they easily bringing audio, analog audio to IP, and then easily just embedded it into any of the workflows for production is really, really, really important. So from King of View side, of course, that's one of the most important part for our roadmap in the future is to get more audio solutions as well.
Thank you, Judy. So now I have a question for all of you. Interoperability between different audio standards like NDI audio, AS767, Dante 172110-30 is still a big topic. Do you believe that the future is, will be only one single approach, or, the bridge and gateway between different standards will be the solution?
So I think the reality is there's a lot of legacy stuff out there. There's even differences between geographies. Some people might be more AS67 Ravina, some people might be more Dante, NDI audio is now becoming a thing. I think the reality is you have to have tools that enable you to connect anything to anything. And that's essentially what we do with LAMA Connect. And I think that is the reality. I don't think there's going to be, as much as I'd like to say NDI audio, I don't think there's necessarily going to be one winner. And I think, to be frank, it's also what we say in English, it's horses for courses. There are certain things where NDI audio is absolutely appropriate. Otherwise, it may be AS67. But I think the key thing is you have to have the tools so that no matter what you have a way of interconnecting those different things.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, actually.
What he said.
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah.
Really, if I just add a couple things to that, and you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, the reality of, in a year or two, everything being on NDI, which I would love very much, I don't think that's going to happen quite that soon. So it's going to really be interoperability. So, coming back, TriCaster, it doesn't matter if it's NDI, XLR, you bring an analog audio in, you want to do Dante. We can bring them in, convert them to whatever you need, and that allows additional workflow opportunities, as I mentioned earlier. And I think that's where the future is. You have to be agile, you have to be interoperable.
Agnostic.
Yeah. Agnostic, that's correct, yeah.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're closing off doors.
Yeah.
So I have to say I also agree. Right now, I think depends on the customer's use cases, but definitely there will be quite a lot of the different IP audio standards. Although right now we know probably NDI audio is not really in a kind of a dominant position. But according to our experience, every time when our customers are asking if we will be able to integrate like NDI video plus some other audio, that's always a kind of request. But from our side, I think right now probably like bridge all different technologies together would be the current solution. But from my side, I would hope maybe NDI audio will in the future can also be something, hopefully, but just as everyone said, maybe not really that soon, but if NDI can really go that direction, that will be a good solution as well. Yeah.
I was just going to add that I think the other thing is that certain protocols don't always play nicely together on a network.
Yeah.
So I think that's where there's a lot of use cases where NDI is the predominant video workflow.
Absolutely.
And then if you're then doing NDI audio, everything plays nicely together. So, I think that's important to remember as well. But again, horses for courses, give people the tools so that they can connect to what they need to connect.
Great, thank you. So the other point, and again is a question for all of you, of course, latency and synchronization is one of the big topics and challenge in audio therapy. And what do you consider good enough latency for broadcast workflow? What do you think, different approach on synchronization can be an advantage for some workflow, especially in broadcast and even on premise or cloud, in your opinion?
So I think whenever it comes to video and audio synchronization, there's almost no wiggle room. You have to be frame accurate or maybe plus or minus one. There's very little opportunity for forgiveness in the real world there. When it comes to latency, what we've seen is it's really dependent on the production, what you're doing. So if I asked a typical broadcaster, which I wouldn't, what is their ideal latency? They would say instantly or yesterday. They want it now. In reality, if they're doing something that's maybe a live venue at a concert or something that would require image magnification, they're probably going to want 1-2 frame delay of latency. Whereas if you're doing remote production, you're doing sports, or you're doing something in the cloud, chances are the actual overall delay is not as critical. So you can get through from anywhere from a handful of frames to a couple of seconds in some cases, and it doesn't actually impact the broadcast. It's very specific to the broadcast, in our opinion, whenever we've looked at that.
So talking about the latency and also synchronization, like PTP, I think first of all, for latency, I think latency actually, for audio and the video, if we transmit them together, then we cannot do the audio and the video out of sync, right? So when we are talking about the audio latency, I think it still depends on the video latency. So of course, we are working together to bring down the video latency. That means, of course, audio latency needs to be down. And I think from customer experience sides, always people will look for lower latency, even it's not so necessary. I think it's like a kind of common requirements. And for if we were able to bring the video latency lower, I think audio definitely it's not that complicated. But talking about the synchronization, I think that's another topic, and it's more important. I think if compared with latency, the synchronization is more important. And I think previously we mentioned like the PTP thing and all those things. I think it's super important, especially for NDI audio and the other. If we are thinking about to bridge all different audios together, or when we do the conversion from analog to IP and also just mixing, because audio is so sensitive. It's so sensitive. It's not like video. Sometimes we say if we really have a few frames drop, then it's not really that visible. Audio, that's not possible. So I think the synchronization is very, very important. And I think earlier this morning, Dr. NDI shared us the news, and we will look forward to that.
Well, where do we begin? So we come from a pure audio perspective. So we're just worried about audio latency. And I hate to say it, but it's horses for courses. Because I always, as an audio guy, I always laugh when you're talking frames, because we're talking milliseconds.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, obviously, if you're trying to ultimately sync against a video, then you might have, the video is normally the one that's slower. Yeah. So that's no problem. So we're normally having to delay the audio because we're too fast. However, I think we have an opportunity here with NDI audio that if we can create what we've already talked about, the NDI audio devices, with low enough latency, then you have the chance to be able to use that for live performances like this, going through a PA. If the latency is too high, that's going to cause everyone to go mad. And the other key thing as well is if people are using in-ear monitoring. Allegedly, if you're a drummer, 5 milliseconds is an issue. Yeah? And I think our challenge here is to try and make things as low as possible. And then the synchronization, to a certain extent, will sort itself out as long as everything's stable.
Yeah.
But I think we've got a real opportunity here to broaden not just from the broadcast, but also the Pro AV and the more sort of streaming markets.
Thank you. So I have a closing question for all of you. In a trade show like this, almost everything is about video. You know, audio is a small part of the story, but it drives the emotional, most of the emotional impact of content of a show. So if you could make one cultural or technology change to ensure that audio finally get the same attention as video in the broadcast workflow, what would it be?
Well, I'm going to have to mention what's actually happened in the past few days. So, LAMA has recently been acquired by Ross Video. And for me, that is the planting of a flag that says one fundamental thing that I think we can all agree on, no matter who we are. And that is that audio matters.
Absolutely.
And I think you're right, audio can carry emotion. I think the joke is nobody really recognizes or takes a notice of audio until it's bad. You know, a really, really good audio mix just somehow is just there and it feels right. So I think, the fact is that audio matters, and I think more and more companies are making that stand.
Well said, and I agree again.
Great.
So I think if I was to add something to that, it would be, we need more tools in this space. I think what LAMA's done has been fantastic.
Thank you.
What we've been able to achieve with BizConnect Audio has been magnificent, and we see a lot of positive influence there. I want to see more of those tools. I want to see more visibility on audio. I want it to be easier to connect. I want it to be as easy or easier than what you'd see in a traditional video workflow. Visualize the audio. How do we make mixes easier to see? How do you make routing easier to understand?
Yep.
These things have been solved, but we need more tools to advance upon that, take it to the next level. And that's what I think would be monumental for audio moving forward with NDI Audio.
It's really tough question for us. But from our side, we will be thinking. I mean, it's just imagine for video, the resolution is getting higher and higher, and we are adding like HDR. Because everything is so easy to compare. For audio, I'm not sure. Maybe Ewan and the technical side, you probably can imagine if it's possible that we can also make some kind of comparison. And then we probably, if you listen to some music, and you probably can have the experience. If you really have a very good audio, and then if you listen to the audio that can only be heard, then you can see the difference. So I'm just imagine if there will be any possibilities, like we can give this kind of experience to all the audiences, customers, and then it can also be visualized. That's just my idea. Technically, I don't know if it's possible or not.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, thank you everyone to be part of this panel. See you tomorrow. There will be right after the panel a presentation from KiloView about a very interesting use case. Mm-hmm. So stay there, and the next panel is tomorrow about consumerization of broadcast. Thank you.